Of the Freedom Charter will go on public view today to mark the 60th anniversary of its adoption on the 26th of June 1955, while the Liberation Centre of the Liliesleaf Trust today unveiled a signed copy to the public, one of the most critical, seminal and defining documents ever drafted. Nicolas Wolpe is the co-founder and CEO of the Liliesleaf Trust, and he joins us now on the desk. Good afternoon, Nick. Always a pleasure to see you.
Thanks for having me here, Krishna. It's always a pleasure.
Really bringing to life the Freedom Charter to a whole new generation of South Africans today. 60 years on, tell us why it still holds such significance and relevance.
I think one has to look at the context of the Freedom Charter,
yes,
and particularly the remark made by Governor Mbeki, who said it's our moral guidance, our moral compass. And it contains within it, I think, the essence of what that struggle was about. The clauses highlight the aims and objectives of what South Africans wanted to achieve and wanted to accomplish out of the liberation struggle. It's a document by the people, for the people of South Africa. And in particular, I think it resonates today as we are struggling as South Africans to really, I think, come to terms with the new South Africa. I think we're finding ourselves being divided again along racial lines, and that document really articulates the aims of and objectives of our struggle when it says South Africa belongs to all who live in it, that we come together as brothers and sisters and we sign this document together.
We know this particular copy has Albert Lutuli's signature on there. How did you manage to get a hold of this copy after all this time?
Well, in fact, in 2010 we were approached and asked to buy a Freedom Charter that was going on auction. And in 2013, again, we were contacted by an auctioneer to say that they had another signed copy and would we like to purchase it? And of course we did. I mean, that begs the question of how many signed copies there are. We believe in total there are 5 to represent the 5 signatories of the 5 organizations which represented and made up the Congress Alliance.
This is about a decisive era in our liberation history, and the fact is, something that Tata Madiba said himself, that the apartheid regime was toppled due to collective effort by a whole lot of people from all races, all backgrounds, all walks of life. How do you reflect this, especially at the centre?
Well, I think it's reflected by the fact that Liliesleaf personifies the notion of what Bishop Tutu talked about, the Rainbow Nation. It also gives meaning and veracity to the meaning of the Freedom Charter. It literally comes alive at Liliesleaf, because when you arrive there, you see that the struggle was conducted by a multi-racial group of individuals from diverse backgrounds, not only from racial, but class backgrounds coming together because they were opposed to this abhorrent ideology of white supremacy. And they wanted to rid South Africa of this.
All right, you've likened this unique document to Britain's Magna Carta or the US Declaration of Independence. But like you mentioned, it's not holding as much resonance with the new generation of South Africans. We are in Youth Month, Nick. How do you keep it relevant and interesting to engage the youth of the country?
Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we put it on display, because I think one of the problems is in South Africa in particular, we have a tendency to lock away our historical documents, that we don't make them accessible, we don't make them visible to the public. And one of the problems that we are struggling with, I believe, in South Africa today is the memory against forgetting. And I think the Freedom Charter, unfortunately, is symptomatic of that problem, because not many South Africans are aware of the Freedom Charter and what it means and what it stands for and what it represents.
And the marginalization of history at schools, if you want to call it this, is definitely not helping. There does seem to be a great, almost an obsession with the mathematics and science subjects.
There is. I mean, there was an interesting paper written several years ago by Neville Alexander who talked about the kind of the role of the humanities and the fact that they are fading from our, call it our academic environment, that if we lose the humanities, we then start to become alienated from the society where we live together, where we function, and where we are both a role player and an actor in that society. And I think it, as you've highlighted, that's one of the problems, and we wanted to bring the Freedom Charter to life to ensure that people come through see it and start to interact and question what is contained within that document.
Running a project like Liliesleaf can't be a cheap operation. It costs a lot of money. Do you struggle to raise funds at all, Nick?
We do. I mean, it has been a battle, but we are hopefully overcoming that struggle, and we hope to move forward, and we feel the future looks extremely bright.
What are the plans for Liliesleaf over the next couple of years?
Well, one of them is to enhance and develop the exhibits that we currently have on display. Also, we are continuing to do more research and to interview more people, because at the end of the day, the importance of our history is captured by those individuals who have memories of the past and their involvement. So the objective really is to build on the oral archive that we have developed, expand the exhibit by bringing more and more of those stories to light so people are able to interface and interact with them, and to hopefully, going forward, develop a hotel which will become the Camp David of Africa, a place where people can come and engage in dialogue and engagement, a place of inspiration, drawing on what made Liliesleaf such a unique place within our liberation struggle.
Of course, I can't let you go without asking this one. Have you found the gun that Tata Madiba is said to have buried on the grounds of Liliesleaf somewhere?
Not yet.
No, but you'll be first. I'll be the first that
you will be if we begin looking for it again.
Of course. Thank you, Nick. Well, that was Nicolas Wolpe of the Liliesleaf Trust. Thank you for your time on the PM News Desk.